Hey guys, Brian with UFO Book Review here, back with another book. Today I'm going to be talking about Alien Agenda by Jim Marrs. And I think this book was originally published back in 96 or 97, and I just acquired this last week. It took me a while to get through this one because this is right at 600 pages, but this was a very interesting read, I must say. This was quite a bit different than the last few books I've read and given reviews on. This book right here, Alien Agenda, covers an extremely broad range of topics. I mean, the first chapter alone is very unique. I mean, this is going to expose you to the spaceship moon theory, which for those of you who don't know about it, and this was my first exposure to the theory or the idea as well, is that the moon is actually artificial, that it's was not always present at the Earth. And so this book is making the I guess you could say the argument that some people believe the moon is an artificial satellite, perhaps brought here over a vast distance of space, and then it may in fact be hollow. And in the story here, he gives numerous examples as to why that could be. The resonance of the moon, explosions caused the moon to resonate, in other words, the sound, for a long time after the first explosion was made. So it kind of resonates like a bell would resonate if you were to ring it. It just keeps ringing and ringing and ringing, which should not, in theory, should not happen if it were a solid object. Something only resonates like that if it's hollow. It goes through and talks about the connection of UFOs to the Third Reich, which Reich, if you don't know, I'm going to give you some insight to what the word Reich means. It just means empire. So the Third Empire, or in other words, Hitler's Germany. So there's some ideas that perhaps the Nazis actually developed some type of technology that is shaped in like a saucer-like configuration, and that perhaps at the end of the war that some of that technology was perhaps acquired by another country and this type of thing. So this book talks about that as well. It talks about things such as remote viewing, which is basically like, I guess you could say it's kind of like, not telekinesis, telepathy. It's sort of like, well, not telepathy exactly. It's more like, well, remote viewing, what it says. It's basically like if I shut my eyes and concentrate long enough, I should be able to picture in my mind's eye what somebody else is doing, and I can actually see what they're doing. And so this book shows how the government actually was involved pretty extensively in the research of this type of remote viewing. They wanted to know what military capabilities are of this. And what's interesting, the people that were involved in remote viewing with the military often claim to see UFOs in their remote viewing experience. So this book, like I say, it covers a wide range of topics. It also gets into like mutilation, cattle mutilation, which is a very interesting phenomenon in and of itself, but this covers that as well. What else does this talk about? Man, like I say, it just does so many things. Oh yeah, talks pretty extensively about the alien abduction phenomenon that happens with people. So I would say that this book probably starts, well, like I said, it starts with the spaceship moon theory, but once I read the first chapter, I was kind of thinking, now, where's he going with this? Because he went from spaceship moon theory to talking about Nazi Germany, and then back to 1947 at Roswell, and like, at first I didn't know where the story was going, but as he keeps going, he basically goes through each successive time period to where we are at today, and shows how things like crop circles, animal mutilation, remote viewing, the abduction phenomenon, the UFO phenomenon, all these things are possibly related or may not be related, but they appear like they are. So I mean, it's a pretty interesting book. I mean, this guy Jim Marrs, he's a investigative journalist, I believe, and he's a New York Times best-selling author. He was the author of a book called Crossfire, which I think was the basis for the Oliver Stone movie JFK. It talks about his assassination. This guy Jim Marrs is the guy who wrote the book Crossfire. So, I mean, he's a good writer. It's very interesting. Now, in this particular book, there are a couple typos. No big deal, but I mean, I did notice a couple typos in the book, but that doesn't really detract from the reading experience. But I mean, I really found this to be a pretty interesting book. I mean, it will definitely expose you to some new ideas and new things, and Again, I'm not telling you that I agree with everything in the book, but hey, it's an interesting read. If nothing else, if you want something that reads more like a science fiction story, this would probably be up your alley for sure. Because it has a lot of those elements in there. And I think as you read this book, you're going to notice a lot of similarities between TV shows or movies that you've seen, like Independence Day or Stargate, you know, all the Stargate series, X-Files, all that stuff is basically all in this book. You're going to see things in this book. I did enjoy this book. I'm not going to go out and give it a 5-star rating simply because I don't think, for me, it's not a 5-star book like you just have to read this one, but it's definitely an enjoyable book. And like I said, there's a lot of ideas in this book that are going to be worth your while to expose yourself to. And if for nothing else, it's kind of a nice break, and it just kind of gives your mind a chance to just kind of relax, because it reads more like a novel than like a hardcore study of UFOs. It's like my Richard Dolan book that I made my video on about UFOs. That was very heady material. In other words, it really makes you just, you have to really think about what you're reading. It can be very challenging at times, but it was excellent book. I gave that one a 5 stars. In case you didn't watch that video, you should check it out. But this one, like I say, reads more like a novel. It's very interesting. It's got a lot of science fiction elements to it. Very cool read, though. I mean, you can pick this up on Amazon for pretty cheap. I think this one was like $4 or something. So I'll put a link down in my description bar if you guys want to check it out. I'm going to give this one 4 stars. And yeah, it's definitely worth a read. It's very cool. I think you should get familiar with Jim Marrs. I think if you do spend any time on YouTube watching videos or researching online or reading books, you're going to see his name come up a lot. And very interesting guy. He's got some good theories on things. I mean, he's got a good mind, I think. He's a smart guy. So check him out. Check out Alien Agenda. It's a pretty cool book. 4 stars from UFO Book Review. Thanks for watching, guys. Until next time. Oh, actually, I can't go yet. I got to tell you, next time I think I'm going to do a review on UFOs, the one by the newest book that came out a couple months ago by Leslie Kean. I actually read that book already, but I'm going to have to go acquire it again so I can show you guys the book so I can do the review on it. But that's a pretty cool book, I can tell you now. Anyway, next book I'm going to do is Leslie Kean's UFOs. So see you next time, guys. Thanks for watching.